time to make some progress toward our goals. First, I want you to think of the number one thing you want for yourself right now. Got it? Good. Here's the question we need to know about that thing that you want. Is it an outcome or an input? If you want 1 million followers, that's an outcome. If you want a lean body, that's an outcome. It's okay to have a goal that is an outcome as long as you recognize that outcomes can only be generated by the effort that you put in. If this is the number one thing you want for yourself right now, what have you been doing to contribute to the cause? This is a broken record we've heard over and over again. It's the small actions consistently taken every day that make the big things happen. But then why aren't we acting like it? We sit here and we kind of dilly-dally there and we try this and we move on and there's a shiny object and we still hope that that goal is on its way to us, but we're not doing the part that we need to play in making it happen. And that contributes to the mindset of not small things make big things happen, but big things every once in a while make big things happen. Not only is this not true, it's not sustainable, it's not training you to be the person who can emulate the existence of having such a goal come to life. And I don't know about you, but I've not actually met any successful people who have a magic genie in a bottle or a lucky star in their back pocket. So we need to make consistent progress toward our goals. We agree that we need to take those small, meaningful steps, but what are they? What does progress actually look like? To break this down, we have to start with our why, of course. So let's just write down the goal. Maybe you want to have 6 months of expenses saved. This is an example of an outcome goal. We could also maybe have a goal that's more like an input. For instance, the goal of publishing 100 YouTube videos. Both of these are an outcome, one of them a bit more descriptive in terms of what inputs are than the former. Something much more abstract and a lot harder to define in inputs would be to become fluent in Italian. Regardless of how you approach your goal, how you define it, what it looks like, how simple it is, how more abstract it is, we're still gonna come up with the same steps to getting there. First, we're gonna define progress. If one of your goals has always been to finish your college degree, you're going to want to hear from the sponsor of this video, and that is our friends at University of Phoenix. While I'm not a student, I so appreciate what they have to offer in terms of flexibility for your education. Isn't it so crazy how later in life you get more excited about learning, but you have so much less time to fit in the education you actually want? Setting a goal to finish your college degree is an empowering decision, but the question becomes, when will you fit it in? This is why I've teamed up with the University of Phoenix. They make it possible for even the most ambitious professionals to complete their degree no matter how busy their lifestyle. You have a lot going on. You've got a lot on your plate. That's never not going to be the case. You can continue to put off getting your degree saying, I'll get it at some point. Or you can prove that you have the ability to be consistent and show up for the things that are the most important to you. When you need to balance everything, work, family, school, you need to be a part of a program that understands the demands of everyday life. At the University of Phoenix, focus on one 5 to 6 week course at a time while still completing your degree on time. They offer up to 17 times per year for you to start your degree and the freedom to learn whenever you want with the 24/7 classroom. If you already have some college credits, the University of Phoenix makes it so easy to finish what you started. Let them help you do the legwork of getting those eligible credits transferred. They will actually request transcripts for you at no cost to you when possible, making it even simpler for you to figure out what's possible with your current level of education. Discover what your future could hold by getting your degree at the University of Phoenix. Get more details with my link in the description down below. Let's start with the expenses saved goal. You could say, oh, I'm gonna get a big tax return next year, or I'm going to get a really large bonus at the end of the year. That's going to help me get ahead. And at that point, I will begin to save my money. But doesn't something always come up? Isn't it amazing? And you're not keeping the frame of thinking that small things accumulate to the big things. So we're going to come up with a small step here on purpose that we can do very regularly in order to make this happen. So to save up 6 months of expenses, I'm going to start small. I'm going to do what's manageable right now. And I'm going to decide what percentage of my paycheck is going to go toward my savings consistently. Let's say we need to start really small, like it's not going to even make a difference. I'm probably not even going to notice it's gone. It's also going to feel like I'm not even working toward my goal that hard. And call it 1% of your paycheck. 1%, just one. Because that's all you can do right now. That's the only small step you can take. That's better than zero. 0 times 0 is 0. What does progress look like for publishing 100 YouTube videos? Well, probably publishing one video. You can't publish half a video. You could probably publish 2 at the same time if you want, but we're going to take a baby step. And so we're going to publish one video, just one. Now, in order to become fluent in Italian, there's lots of different things you could do. If you know someone who speaks fluent Italian, then maybe you agree to have a conversation with them or ask them to help you learn vocabulary words. That's one way you could do it. There are so many resources for this now. You can watch videos on the internet. You can use apps that will actually teach you and guide you through lessons. You decide what it would be in this case, but I'm just going to say that I'm going to study in an app. That's it. I'm just going to study in an app. I don't know anyone. I hope to go to Italy someday and talk to all kinds of people, but I can't become immersed yet. I'm just going to study in the only way that's possible on my phone. So that's cool. We've got steps to take. But tell me you're not asking additional questions right now. Okay, I'm going to save 1% of my paycheck. Great, great, great. That's cool. Okay, I'm going to publish one video. Okay, awesome. All right, I'm going to study in the app. Great. We don't make consistent progress unless we know what consistency is. So that is what we're going to unpack. Consistency. Can I spell? You know I don't care about writing fancy on here because it's about unpacking the information. 1% of my paycheck saved. Consistency. How often am I going to do that? Well, if I'm taking consistent steps of this little thing, I could say, well, I'm going to only save 1% once a month, but I get paid weekly. So seems like I could do a bit better than that. The consistency level, ideally, is if you're going to save 1% of your paycheck, you're going to do it every time you get paid. Maybe it's every time you do a side job too. Maybe it's every time you get your direct deposit paycheck. Maybe it's every time you get a special check in the mail that you were not expecting. Consistency. Every time I get paid. This is the rule. Publishing YouTube videos. I want to get to 100 videos. I know 100 is going to teach me a lot as a content creator, so I need to publish 100 videos. How soon can I publish 100 videos? I can tell you from experience that once a week is a great way to launch a channel, and once a week is pretty hard. So if you consistently post one time a week to get to 100 YouTube videos, you're doing better than most people. And become fluent in Italian. I'm going to study in my app. You know, I could just study in my app like once a week or once a month, or whenever I decide not to disregard the notification on my phone. Or I could say that I'm going to study in my app for 15 minutes every day. Tell me you don't have 15 minutes to spend on your phone every day. Riddle me this. You might be scrolling social media, looking at everyone who's already fluent in Italian and living their best life in the Amalfi. Okay, so now we have the progress step. We have the consistency level. Now what do we need to know? The final step in this process is to understand accountability. I picked all the long words today. You can look at this a few different ways. Accountability can look like having an accountability partner and actually saying to somebody, I need to check in with you on a goal that I've set for myself. I don't want judgment. I don't want additional counsel. I just need to know that I have to tell someone what I've been up to. So I'm going to tell you. You could do this with a person. You could do that with a mastermind group. You could do that with a coach. That is totally an option. But another way you can look at accountability is to just straight up measure. Can you measure the progress? You will know your input is a good one if it's possible to measure it. And it might be good enough for you, depending on the type of person that you are in terms of accountability, to simply measure something to hold yourself accountable. So let's try a couple of different ways here. Accountability for saving up your paycheck. That is going to be, let's say, one time per month, you're going to have a finance date with yourself. You're going to pour yourself a glass of wine. You're going to open up your high interest savings account and see how you're doing on saving 1%. Another great accountability idea for this particular one is, I know I'm not going to do that with myself. I know I will ghost myself on that date and not show up. Okay, that's fine. Then another accountability option for you could be to auto draft to savings. If you have a set pay every paycheck and you know how much 1% is, you can set up a savings account to automatically pull that amount of money the day you get paid or the day after you get paid, whatever works best for you in terms of your bank account scheduling. That's a great level of accountability. You never see it, you don't even notice it's gone, and it's in savings, the end. You could do both. You could be like, I didn't do any work whatsoever. I'm going to show up to my wine date with myself and see how technology has been working for me. Fantastic. Post 100 YouTube videos. This is really interesting because your audience will tell you. Like I get slid into the DMs by a lot of you when I've gone MIA, okay? But that's a luxurious thing in my life. When you're starting a YouTube channel and you have not published 100 videos yet, ain't nobody sliding into your DMs asking where your latest upload is. Let's be real. This is why we want to get to a certain number of posts, right? So your accountability might need to be hiring a coach, or it might need to be having a content buddy and saying, hey, I'm going to publish once a week. I want you to text me every Friday morning. Did you post this week? Especially if you see I did not post this week. Also, content buddies should always comment on each other's videos. Be my content buddy. Fluent in Italian. What I love is the app that I use, they actually have a habit tracker widget. So it's in my face every day if I have not had 7 sessions of Italian this week, and it's Saturday, okay? We know that the week went by without any Italian training if this widget is telling me I only did 1 out of 7 this week. So you can use technology to hold you accountable here. You could also call someone up that you know speaks a little of Italian and let them know what you learned this week or learned today, depending on how in your face your Italian speaking accountability partner is. Mine happens to sleep in my house, so he can hold me accountable. You know how it is around here. We're typically doing writing exercises of the most obvious things. I mean, like, let's be honest, this is not brain surgery. The sad truth of the goals and making them happen is that they must not mean that much to you if you are not making consistent progress. If they do mean that much to you, there is something else that means more to you, whether it's toxic and negative or not. And you have to be honest with yourself about what your priorities are. Now, that doesn't mean that your new goal can't become a priority, and it might have to sit behind something. A lot of us are dealing with lack of time, too much going between work and family, and there's just not enough in the day to do the things you want to do. However, there's always going to be something to get in the way. You're never going to not be busy. There's always going to be somebody asking you to do something that does nothing for you, and there's always going to be things that you're trying to do for yourself that take up time. And you're also going to go try to make a paycheck so you can pay your rent, and you're also going to want to see your kids because you love them. There's always going to be something going on. But when you sit down and you say, I know what I want, and I know something I could do very easily right now that I cannot throw a fit over and say it's impossible. When you write that out and you agree that it has to be consistent or it won't make a difference, and you say, I know how I'm going to make sure I show up for this so that I am held accountable. This is how you stay consistent towards your goals. You can only be consistent if you know what progress looks like, and you can only make progress if you have some level of accountability. Throw in pens. Throw in pens. What do you want? What is the input that is directly going to contribute to it, no matter how long it takes, no matter how long it takes. You could publish a video a month if you want. Just remember that the less often you have to do something, the less practiced you are, and the less it is a part of your routine. It never becomes natural. It never becomes a part of your personality. It takes more to get ramped up. No matter what your goal is, I want to know what the inputs are. I want to know what you're going to do. I want to know the small thing that you can do actually at the end of this video. What is the small thing you can do and you're going to do consistently, daily, weekly, whatever the case? What is it? Put it in the comments down below. And if you're having a hard time figuring out, I don't know exactly what I want, I can't quite nail it down, then you definitely want to watch this video about being unrealistic, because it's going to help you unpack the audacious things you can make happen for yourself that actually motivate you to make progress.